Hi, I'm Mike Diaz.
And I'm Jaime Fernandez.
And welcome to the first episode of the Translators podcast,
Where we talk to Latino actors, writers, directors, comedians, even social media content creators, and we ask them to translate the language of creativity. You thought I was going to say Spanish, right?
We do this by asking them the 3 Ps. Passion, when they first realized they were passionate about their craft.
Path, what was the path they took to get there?
And process, where they tell us how they do what they do.
Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Why are you only talking to Latino creatives? Well, stop yelling and we'll tell you.
We want to celebrate the Latino pioneers that opened the door and the new generation that continues to kick it open.
Yeah, this isn't just an interview show, right? Like, we're going to share historical little nuggets of information about Latinos in various creative industries.
And don't worry, I know this sounds real serious, but we're going to have fun too.
Yeah, like we're going to crack jokes, we're going to play games. Maybe we even show bloopers of Mike trying to read the teleprompter.
Wait, I didn't agree to that.
So everybody just sit back, relax. Unless you're driving a car while listening to us, then I advise you to bring your seat up and focus on the road.
Translator starts
Now. There's just one word. You don't need a teleprompter for that. Wow, this is our first episode. Mike, are you excited?
I mean, of course, we got a cool neon sign behind us. Yeah. The couch is made by some soft material.
Hold on. Oh, snap. This is soft.
This is pretty good.
Woo.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe we should stop rubbing it so much.
We should.
All right.
And our first guest, what an amazing kid. This is going to be such a great show.
Yes, we have actor JADEN MICHAEL, all right? If you don't know him, he's on the Netflix show Colin in Black and White. And he's here today and on our first episode.
Yep.
In the studio.
Right.
With us.
Okay, they get it.
Okay, sorry. But that's not all. We want to introduce our boy, Jerry Diaz is here.
What's up?
Jerry, you're actually going to be helping us do research about the show.
Yes, I've been hired as official researcher for the show of the what's the show called again?
Very funny, Jerry.
Funny.
Okay.
Gotta
Remember, you're not booked for the second episode yet, so.
Wait, what?
Cold. So we had an idea that at the top of every episode, we'd answer a very quick trivia question that would be provided by Jerry. Jerry, do you have your question ready?
I already emailed it to you guys. No, I'm joking. It's for the show. It's
Jerry.
right here. Okay. Since you're interviewing a Latino actor, I thought that the first trivia question should be about one. Okay? So, who is the first Afro-Latino and Dominican to win an Emmy?
Jerome.
Actually, that was pretty cool how you answered that. And you're both correct. Jerome made history when he became both the first Afro-Latino and the first Dominican to win an acting Emmy for his best lead actor in a limited series in Netflix's When They See Us. They finally.
Wow, that was
Look at us, guys.
researching.
Look at us. First episode and we're already learning things.
Speaking of learning things, let's start off by talking about the first Latino in the silent film era, Ramon Navarro from Mexico.
And you got to give this guy props because it is hard for a Latino to stay silent. You know what I mean?
He actually became a leading man in the 1920s. Jerry, whatever happened to him?
He was brutally murdered in his own home by 2 male prostitutes.
Okay, that escalated real quick. Jamie, let's move on.
Oh, that was dark. So look, many of the first successful Latinos in the early days of cinema, like Navarro and Gilbert Roland, were stereotyped as the Latin lovers.
Oh man, I get stereotyped as a Latin lover all the time.
Really?
No, but I should. With this chest there, if you see.
All right, put that away. Nobody wants to see that.
Okay, look, the first Latino to win an Oscar in 1951 was Puerto Rican Jose Ferrer for playing the role of Cyrano de Bergerac.
Is that a Puerto Rican name?
I don't know. Let's use it in a Puerto Rican sentence. Oh, yeah, Cyrano de Bergerac.
Uepa, Sergio de Bergerac.
Coño, Cyrano de Bergerac.
No, it doesn't feel Puerto Rican.
Nah.
We tried.
Yep.
But these men paved the way for other Latino actors, such as Ricardo Montalban, who starred in the show Fantasy Island.
Yes, the plane guy.
Nah, not that dude. The tall dude. The short guy was actually French.
Excusez-moi.
Parlez-vous français?
I don't know what that means.
Okay, can we put our wee-wees away and continue?
Okay, bonjour. Other well-known iconic Latino actors are Anthony Quinn, Raul Julia, Jimmy Smits, Andy Garcia, Lin-Manuel Miranda, Benicio del Toro.
Oh, Cheech and Chong.
No, actually, only Cheech was Mexican.
Okay, what about the guy that played Richie Valens in La Bamba?
Lou Diamond Phillips is actually not Latino, but the guy who played his brother, remember?
Richie!
Right, Isai Morales is Puerto Rican.
Okay, what about Giancarlo Esposito?
Ooh, great Latino name. Also not Latino.
You know what? Clearly, I'm not good at this. The next thing you're going to tell me is that Danny Trejo is not Latino.
No, actually.
No, yeah, he is.
Trejo's
Yep.
100% Chicano.
100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yo, I got one.
Wow.
Okay.
All right, relax.
Yo,
Thanks.
I'm good.
Hopefully, the future for Latino actors will include less stereotypical roles, such as suspects in a cop show, right? Gang members, and the worst, drug kingpins.
Actually, I would be pretty good at it as a drug kingpin.
I'm sorry, Mike, but I think my drug kingpin would wipe the floor with your drug kingpin.
Well, get ready to wipe out a lot of cocaína because my drug kingpin has mad drugs.
Guys, the whole point that I was trying to make is that we don't want to keep playing drug kingpins.
Oh, right. Sorry. You're right.
And besides, everybody knows my drug kingpin will run shit. Nah, man.
Stop
What? I was
playing.
built for this, man. What are you
kidding
talking
me?
about?
Okay, I think it's time for us to start our interview with our guest, JADEN Michael.
My drug kingpin this morning.
Let's start from the beginning. Okay. Where did you grow up?
Manhattan.
Oh,
Raised.
Manhattan in the house.
Manhattan, what part?
Uptown, downtown, midtown.
All right, so my family is from the Heights. I was born in Presbyterian, but my mom and I used to live in Jersey for a few.
Oh, like the new mayor, Eric Adams.
Wow, shots fired.
No, but we moved back to the Heights, so I just say I'm from the Heights because I grew up there.
Too much to explain.
Yeah, I used to tell people, they're like, where are you from? I'm like, my pillow's in New Jersey, but I live in New York. Because I would only go to Jersey to sleep, and sometimes not even. I would just sleep at a friend's house in the Heights.
Nice.
You started your career very, very young. As a kid, was that something that you wanted to do, or what was something that you wanted to do when you were growing up?
People ask me like, oh, when did you start? And I always give like 2 ages, because there's like when I was 3 and my mom first put me into like doing Nickelodeon promos and stuff like that, I wasn't really like, conscious. I was just there. And then I thought it was funny that my friends at school were like, oh, I saw you on TV. And I was like, eh. But I think I turned like 8. No, I was 7, turning 8 on set, and I was doing a guest starring role on a pilot called NYC Tutu, and I don't know, something clicked. I was in love with Yara Shahidi. I watched her film Imagine That with Eddie Murphy like 1 billion times, and she was like my inspiration. I don't think I'd ever seen someone my complexion on screen before, and I think it was a very visceral reaction to see someone like you, your age, on screen. And it was, I don't know, I really connected with it. And that's when I started thinking more deeply about acting, like, oh, you can have different emotions, and it's not just mad or sad and happy, and there's colors, and they change, and they can be different. There's not one way to do a scene. And on set is when I was like really experimenting with like, how can I feel about stealing a cup of flour? Yeah. It was that.
How long did it take for you to feel comfortable on set?
You funny. You think I'm still comfortable? No, it depends. It depends on the atmosphere that the production brings. I've been on sets where I feel utterly comfortable to experiment and to feel, and it's because of the environment that's created on set. And I mean, there is projects that I've done very, very recently where I feel on edge, and it's because the energy's not there, the family's not there. But I think the first time I felt comfortable to ask, like, is it okay if I do this? Like, beyond just like trying something and then seeing if they tell me no or not, but like asking before doing it, like, hey, is it okay if I feel this way? And then the director being like, yeah, of course. It was on Wonderstruck in 2017. So I don't know how many years that was, 5. I was 13 or 14, and I would ask Todd Haynes. I was like, hey, is it okay if I felt this way on set? Could I do this? And it was very liberating. As an artist, that's what you want to do. Yes, I want to make your movie and I want to make you happy, but I also want to make myself happy through that. And one thing that really stands out for me from shooting that was there's a scene in the museum on Wonderstruck where the other character drops his wallet, and so I have to go and give it to him. And my character is just very playful and outgoing, and he's already seen this person before, and he's also like kind of flirting with the kid. So I was like, oh, it would be really funny if I like slid to grab the wallet and like handed it to him from there. And so I asked the director, I was like, is it okay if I do like something funny like to go in? And he's like, sure, okay. And I did the slide, and he's like, holy cow, that was so cool. And so we kept on doing it that way. And to young, young me, that was very reassuring. Like, oh, I made the right choice. I did it differently, but he enjoyed it. Yeah.
So, starting so young, every kid actor kind of has like their awkward phase if they start really young, and then they kind of go through puberty, and sometimes it doesn't, it's kind of just they stop getting work. How did you skip that? Like, how did you not go through that? Because
I'm a
or did
late
you have
bloomer.
an awkward?
I'm a late bloomer. I have not hit puberty yet.
Okay, so whole, late puberty.
What you
I'm
talking
praying.
about, man? What you talking about? I'm looking up at you like 6'3".
Yeah,
What does
you
that
taller
leave
than Jerry,
me?
So
Well, the funny thing is, because
Jerry
of
hasn't hit
COVID,
puberty, right?
because
All
of COVID
You
and
hear my
everything,
voice? You hear it, right?
all of my friends know me through Zoom. So they're like, oh, you're like 5'3". I'm like, no, I'm 6 feet tall. And they're like, no, you're 5'3". And then I did the red carpet with Colin, and he's like 7'9". So I still look 5'3". They're like, you 5'3". I'm like, no, he's just a giant.
Did you feel the weight of that while you were filming it? Like, I'm pretty sure in the beginning, but like as you were filming it, did you feel the significance of what you were doing?
I was scared as hell when they told me I got it. I remember when I got the call, of course I was excited. Because that means you did something good, And I don't think I'd worked in like a year, 2 years because of COVID. So I was just excited. But then it started setting in. I was like, for one, I knew that, the executive producer is the person I'm playing, so he could just fire me. He's like, you're not doing a good job, get out. But no, it was just also like, I was young, and I still am young, but I was younger, and I was interested in politics, but I was afraid on how those politics would affect my career. And like, if I made this show, would people not want me to work in other films and other stuff, because what I did was too polarizing. And I think the more I thought about how afraid I was to tell a story that was important to me, proved to me how important it was for me to prove that this is an issue. This is an epidemic. If I don't feel secure to tell a story about me, things that happened to me, because it's not Colin's story per se, it's the story of young people who experience racial bias. And if I feel afraid to tell stories that I can relate to, then the country needs to know that this is an issue. Right. And that's kind of sealed the deal. But in the beginning, I was very afraid. But again, it goes back to the environment that's built on set. Ava made it feel like family. I never once on set felt like I wasn't being supported by someone. I think she has this thing where she tries to have at least 80% of the crew and cast be of people of color. So you felt like home because everyone's working with you. Yeah. Usually on set there's like 2-3 black people, and then you gotta, hey, what's up, man?
You just do the head nod to each other, like,
the head nod, like, yo,
yeah,
what's up, man?
Hey, please keep me safe.
Yeah.
They're like,
I see you. You see me?
You on camera? Oh.
Yeah.
It's a whole like, yo, if white people go crazy here, I see you. You know where you at? I see you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like, you know, it's like that. But when everyone on set is family, then you put your guard down and you feel a little bit safer. Now, I've been doing this for 15 years. I've done, I don't know how many fucking credits. Can I curse? Oops.
Yeah, you can.
Okay. I don't know how many credits I've done and how many projects I've worked on. I've never seen a person of color in the sound department. Never, once. That was the first time I saw a person of color in the sound department. And that's not something I even thought of. You know, growing up, it never affected me. I never thought, oh, I never seen a brother in the sound department. Right. And then I saw one and I was like, oh my God, I never seen a person of color in the sound
Or
department.
heard, you know, because it's a sound department. So I never heard.
And it's crazy because the sound person that's like the most sneakiest one because you get your mics are still on. You're like, yeah, man, you know, the director.
They hear everything. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you gotta remember like, oh shit, you heard that? And it's just always like, yeah, I heard that. I kind of want to go back a little bit as far as how did you balance school throughout your teens? How did you balance school and your work? And like, did it take a while to get the structure? But like, explain to us
But do you
how
have
that.
the tutor on set?
Put it this
How
way.
did that work?
Starting Monday, I was overdue 75 assignments.
70. Whoa, Jerry. That's something similar
That's
to
something to
you,
me.
right? You actually went to
Very close.
regular school?
Very close.
Yeah,
Very close.
But
and I didn't act, so.
But I did better. I'm at like 30 now, so I make him mama proud. But no, my mom. I was in normal school from kindergarten to like halfway through second grade. Something happened, and my mom was like, "You're out." And she kind of like bootstrapped herself, and she was like, "I'm gonna homeschool you. We'll figure this out together."
Oh.
And so she got all these books, phonics and this and that, and try to teach me how to, you know, all these things so I could be prepared for middle school and high school. And I was advanced before going into school because I was at a second grade reading level because my mom wanted me to know how to read when I was going to an audition room. I had to. That was, you know, make it, break it. And then, you know, I was like a first grade or second grade math level. And I went into school and I started regressing because I wasn't around people who could facilitate my growth. I was in kindergarten. I was like, why are these kids having naps? It's 3 p.m. Like,
We got things to do.
Yeah, come on. Time
I
is-
got things to do.
Nobody pays
places to
taxes
be.
around here? Yeah.
It's like these kids are reading, like, you know, talking about Star Wars, and I love Star Wars, but like, can we talk about like this new Harry Potter book that just came out? Like, damn, that shit was good.
A little Hemingway, anyone? Can we?
I did homeschooling. I've been doing homeschooling the rest of my life. In 10th grade, though, in 9th grade, I was like, I can't, the program we're doing right now is not preparing me for college. I have big dreams. I want to go to Harvard. I want to go to Yale. I want to study. And I'm not going to be able to get there if I don't have the right structure for college. And this school isn't, this curriculum isn't helping me. So I was like, all right, let me find an online school that can help facilitate my college, you know, aspirations. And I found a great school, Dwight Global. This sounds like an advertisement now.
All right, you gotta
But
look
like,
straight in the camera.
But no,
Dwight Global.
Dwight Global. I love them so much. Thank you for supporting me through this excellent journey.
Yo, Dwight Global's come up.
Yeah, they come up. But no, they really helped me.
Dwight
Like,
Global sounds like some pyramid scheme. Like, I need to tell you about this place called Dwight Global.
Let me tell you something. I
got meeting
cheated
at
on.
Wall Street on
no,
Saturday
but I
morning.
gotta come out of Lamborghini first, guys. Let me tell you.
You know, I cheated on.
You
want to
know how I got this Lamborghini? Dwight Global.
5 of your friends that join tomorrow.
If you get 5 friends to get to Dwight Global,
Tuition is half off, yo.
That worked for you.
that has been
Yeah.
working. That's
Yeah.
what I'm a senior now. Applying to colleges,
Nice.
which was difficult because again, I was shooting a pilot, doing a press tour, and submitting college applications whilst juggling 3 AP classes and studying for my ACT.
You were talking earlier about how like all the projects and all that stuff, but there's also rejection. So
Yeah.
can you explain how you dealt with rejection and the process through that, like dealing with not getting that role or being in that show that you wanted?
I I forgot how to cry off camera. So when I was 12, I was auditioning for a TV show called Extant with Halle Berry. Steven Spielberg was the executive producer and director, and I wanted it.
Yeah.
My role was to play Halle Berry's son, and he was supposed to be like half robot, and it was down to the last 3 kids. It was me, another person of color, and a white kid from Atlanta. And
Who's actually a robot? Just so we
That's unfair. That's not right, man. What's up?
he has an advantage.
His daddy was Terminator.
Yeah, yeah, he came to the audition too. But I remember when we were at this last audition, and I was sitting there and I was like, oh, okay, I have a good feeling about this one. Just stay focused. I mean, there's no way he's gonna get it. He's white, and Halle Berry isn't white, so I don't know, but you never know.
Have a
But
good
I don't
feeling
think
about
so.
this,
I don't
right?
think
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
I went in. I felt really good about it. Everyone was smiling and happy, and I was like, okay. I left, and a week later goes by, and they call us and they say you didn't get it, and I was like, what? Okay, I guess the other person of color got it good on. I'm proud of my brother, right? And then I see all of these like the promos for the show, and it's the white kid who got it, and I was like, how the hell did this white kid play Halle Berry's son? That one was very hard on me.
Did you know how they explained it? Whether he's adopted or is biracial?
No, it was AI, so it's fine. He could be white.
Oh, so it could just be his.
Yeah, he could just.
Okay.
They explained she went to the store and they ran out of the black models.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So she bought the white one.
Yeah,
Like the
yeah.
Barbies.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
Barbies.
American Girl doll. Factory.
Yeah, there you go.
That one hurt very hard, and my mom, she was crying with me on the bed. We were crying together, and she was like, "Don't worry, Papa, you got this." And she was just telling me like, that the next one, you're gonna get the next one. Just keep going, and I think that perseverance is something I still try and use. When you face failure, I still be like, okay, the next one. But what happened was I started, because of that and because of other failure, I started correlating failure with rejection. And I think that's where that question is wrong. It's not how do you deal with failure, it's how you deal with rejection.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Right.
a lot of the
Change the
time, it's that it's not that you're not good enough. And that's what I started misunderstanding. I thought I wasn't good enough to play Halle Berry's son, when there's a lot of other factors that went into it, like being white.
Right.
And I was rejected, but it wasn't a personal failure, and I beat myself up for it for years, saying, "Oh man, how did you mess that up? How could you have messed that up?" And it more than likely didn't have anything to do with me personally, with my performance in the room, and I still am, but progressively trying to break the stigma that because I was rejected from a project means I'm a failure or I failed to perform.
Rejection is God's protection.
What?
Rejection is God's protection.
Okay.
I like that.
See?
That means I wasn't meant for you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, I didn't think about that. Yes. Onward and upwards.
Yes.
Yes.
He made a bunch of bumper stickers with
I
that.
did. I guess the T-shirt
He's
isn't
testing
gonna
them out
sell
right
it's not
now.
gonna sell now. You guys
Yeah.
stepped on it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
It's an Among Us character.
Jerry, this is
Great.
perfect for this one right here.
Thanks.
You mentioned your mom, right? Is she the one you go to that you trust to give honest feedback?
No, not anymore, because I'm a teenager.
Okay.
No. No.
Or are there other people too, like that you're like, you know what? I trust this person's opinion. I want to get the real truth. Don't give me no BS.
On set, now that I'm 18, they're like, "Hey, so you don't want your mom on set anymore, right?" I'm like, "No, she's supposed to be here." And they're like, "Yeah, but like, do you want her to stay in the trailer?" "No, she's staying on set." "Actually, can you make sure she has a chair by Video Village?" And they're like, "Oh, okay." And that's because the director can say whatever they want and the producer can have their own opinions, but I know I can always go to my mom and she'll be like, that was balls, Jaden. That was ass. Please fix this and that. It's reassuring to know that my mom is watching. And that if I do mess something up, or if I'm not confident in something, someone else noticed it or didn't notice it, and I feel comfortable in moving on. So yeah, I always make sure my mom's on set, and she's someone I trust.
You got your mom-tourage, right? You got, you know?
She hates that word. She hates
Is that a real word?
Momager.
Momager. Yeah, that's hard to say too. Like you don't know how to pronounce it. Momager or momager.
No, not because of the pronunciation. Like
She knows what it means, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
she's like, oh, it doesn't roll
She
off
doesn't
the
like
tongue.
those words.
She's not good at rolling the R's. Momager. It's not easy.
We were talking. Jerry and I were talking earlier. Do you have any relatives that you were like, you know what? I'm thinking back now. Like my uncle could be like a comedian, or I have a cousin of mine, an older cousin of mine that seems like he has some acting chops. Were there anyone in your family that you could be like, yo, you know what? If they pursued it, they would be pretty good at it.
My mom is always trying to get her little cousin, my cousins, like, oh, she's so cute. She should be a model. And my aunt or my uncle's like, yeah, okay.
Are you the only one in your family in the arts, like in acting?
Pretty much. Okay. The story is my great-grandmother, she had a son, and he was infatuated with Oscar de la Renta. He wanted to be the next Oscar de la Renta. He was on his way, definitely on his way. He was in New York, in the fashion industry. He was making moves. He was getting to the top. And he went to DR to get married with his wife, and they were like, oh, we're going to go to the store and pick something up. Or I think his wife told him to go pick something up. And he went on the motore, boom, died.
I didn't know. No, that got
Typical
dark.
Dominican death. No, that's a Dominican death.
Yeah.
Motore. Yeah.
Yeah, he died on a motore. And my great-grandmother always used to say when he was alive, like he was going to be the one to put our family on the map. And then when I was born, she started saying that I was the one who was going to put the family on the map. And so growing up, I always used to hear that, oh, Jaden's going to be the one. Clara, keep him straight. He's going to be the one. And I was like, well, I don't know about all that. I'm just like having fun. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. My family's always been like supportive, like proud of me, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like they've always been like, I wouldn't do it, but I'm happy that you're doing it.
Right.
Okay, let's talk about kind of your process, right? As an actor, you know, somebody who doesn't act is like, how does everybody, you know, how do you memorize lines? And everybody has a different process, you know what I mean? So do you have like a specific process that helps you to memorize your lines? And can you teach it to Mike?
Yes.
No, it's true talk.
Yeah.
I use music. There is a study about how if you put yourself in the room that you're learning in, so like they always say that if you take a test in the same room that you learn the information in, it's easier to take the test and the information will come, you'll score higher. So I sort of applied that to my process. So it's not only about the surroundings, but also about like what senses are being stimulated. So if you're in an all-white room when you're learning, if you're in a room that's all white when you're applying it, you'll apply it better. And the same goes for the noise that you're hearing. If you're hearing a certain frequency, your brain will recall the information better if it's hearing those same frequencies. So I started making playlists to listen to the script too. So each character has their own playlist with music I feel like they would listen to that follows the rhythm and the pacing and the emotion during the script. And so when I reread the script, every time I listen to it with the music. And then when I'm on set ready to shoot that specific scene, I listen to that song. And it gives me that emotion. And I feel like I'm still reading the script. And I think that's what works best for me, because not only is it a bridge between the arts, that I think that's very important, always making, because, you know, acting is such a fusion of so many different mediums. There's, you know, you have to be very flexible with your body, and that's dancing. You have to be very good with your breath and your voice, and that's singing. And making that bridge to music and the frequencies and the energy there, I think is important. But I also just like reading the script over and over again.
Yeah, right.
Every
That's what I thought. Usually, like that's usually the answer is like read it over and over again. But you gave like your first answer was very scientific, man. I was like, damn, using Spotify in a good way, in a useful way, right? It's like I got all these playlists to just help me memorize my lines.
Yeah.
Jaden, you've worked with a lot of amazing directors. How do you have to like sort of adapt to their styles? Like, how does that work as an actor working with the director and the synergy to get the best version of yourself when you're acting?
I was very used to working on film sets before shooting Colin in black and white. And on film, you always have the same director, right? The whole month, 2 months you're shooting, you have the same director. And I grew accustomed to each character would have to adapt to one director, because there's definitely an adaptation that you have to do to the director in order to be on the same page artistically, and so that you guys can create the same energy and emotions on screen. But when we were shooting Colin in black and white, it's a TV show. So every episode, every 2 weeks, there was a different director. And that was hard at first, because I was like, oh shoot, I not only am I growing, not only is the character arc changing, I also have to remember, how does this director like to work? And it was very good. It made me more on my toes and think more deeply about my characters, because I was constantly thinking about how would this moment affect the director? What would his opinions be on it? And people just have different styles of directing as well. I remember the director of episode 3 and 4 on Colin, and he had one thing that he used to say was, do it for love, do it for love. So we would probably have like 10, 11 takes of the same shot, just the same close-up, 10, 11. He would do like 8 of them, and he's like, all right, we'll do it again, do it for love, just for the actor, and you just do something silly. And so, you get used to having to keep that energy up for the 11th, 12th, 13th take. And then the last director, Kenny Leon, if you had to do it more than twice, he was already like bored. So I think there was a few times he told me, he was like, all right, I'm bored, let's move on. And it was like the 3rd take. I was like, oh man, I was then I had to rewire myself, like, okay, I don't have 11 takes to find it. I have to give the energy on the first one. And it's about figuring out how they like to work. Yeah.
You ever heard David Fincher must be crazy to work with him. All the stories of him wanting 100 takes sometimes. I mean, if you had to work with a director like that, are you just kind of like, let's go? Like, yeah, you're adapting to everything, but are you kind of like, this is kind of OD a little?
No, there's just like a cup of coffee,
Yeah.
just
go with it.
Keep that energy. There's so many different ways you could play the same scene. There's so many different emotions that you can bring, so many different choices you can make. Every syllable can be different. And there's like 8 different ways you could say the same syllable. And if there's 20 syllables in a sentence, that's already 200 different ways to say one sentence. And if you're doing a whole scene, and how many sentences are in a scene. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you can't get bored as an actor doing 100 takes. Mm-hmm. There's always something different you could do. And it's about finding that in your character and in yourself, that emotion and that energy. But it's also about having the energy to do it 100 times. Yeah. So it depends the shot. The last TV show I was shooting, there was a scene where I had to get thrown on the floor by police officers, and then they're roughhousing me and arresting me, and I'm supposed to be screaming at the top of my lungs, asking someone else off camera who wasn't even on camera to help me. And that was rough, because it was 3 a.m. I was already on set for like 8 hours, 9 hours. I was tired, I was hungry, and it was physical and emotional, because it's the bookend of the episode. And we shot that scene maybe 50, 60 times.
Wow.
Just one shot. And then we had to do that scene maybe, there was 5 shots, and we did like each shot like 60 times. I don't know how many times I on the floor. And
out of all scenes to do like 60
times.
Yeah. Physical, like.
It was really rough that night. And And there was a few other scenes that were physical, and I think I hit the floor like 80 times, 100 times, and I don't like mats. Like if I'm gonna do something, I want to feel it, but I don't really want to feel it on the 100th time. You know what I mean? So it's difficult, but sometimes it can be good, because especially during the end, I was like, the end of the 60 take, that anger you get from having to do it again and again, you could just use towards the scene.
So we were talking about that audition you had for the Halle Berry show, how you kind of felt good about it and ended up not getting it, which is what a lot of actors deal with in auditions. What have you learned all these years of auditioning?
Nothing. I don't know. It's so hard. Like I suck at auditions. Anytime that I can get a director's meeting, please, I can actually talk about the character. I can actually like explain what I want to do, and I feel a lot more comfortable. I think I suck at auditioning. I get nervous, and then I get in my head, and then I start looking at people's faces, and then I start getting in my head more, because I'm like, why are they making that face? But maybe they're not making that face. And then there's so many other variables that go into it, like how is that casting director's day going? And did I say hello too excited? Was I not too excited?
Did I fart?
And
Or did they smell my fart?
You didn't
I know
smell
I
it?
farted, but yeah.
and then I also tried to like learn the different casting directors, because just like a director, there's a different style.
Yeah.
And so then you also have to like know, like, okay, this casting director only wants to do this, and you have to remember, because there's like 100 different casting directors. So I don't know.
But do you feel, if you know, like, if you're prepared, that's half of the battle? Like, you know what I mean? Like, or do you still kind of just like, I'm gonna get nerves regardless?
I'm gonna get nervous regardless.
Yeah, okay.
But if I'm prepared, I will still deliver better. So
You have a plan.
right,
Yeah,
you're not just
yeah,
like,
yeah.
but you know it. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't go into an audition room if I wasn't prepared, and I think part of that is finding stories that connect with you. Because if you can if it's hard for you to put that paper down, then it's gonna be hard for you to mess up in the room. Yeah. Wait, did I say that right? If it's hard for you to put the script down, then it's gonna be hard for you to forget how to feel in the moment.
Rejection is protection.
Rejection is protection.
No,
Told you.
bring it back.
I'm
Baby
trying to
on
bring
board.
it back. No, you can't be bringing my t-shirt. That's my t-shirt.
on board.
So
Do you see yourself doing other roles in the entertainment field? You know, do you see yourself writing, directing, producing, especially since you've been witness to how these things work? Is it something where like, hey, one day I want to direct? I see myself doing that.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm producing I'm producing a movie right now,
Okay.
and I'm trying to sell another movie. One of them's about a Cuban defector who comes to America trying to pursue a MLB career. I'm very excited about that one, to share that one. It's a book adaptation.
Yeah.
And it really hones in on not only how difficult it can be to be an immigrant, but the addition of having to be a defector. Porque, you and I, we can go back to DR. We can go back and see home. But for a Cuban, you can't. You're separated from your family. You're separated from your home. And so you're an alien to both countries, to your home and to this new home. And it really hones in on that relationship. And there's another project I'm really excited for. I'm trying to write something. I've been writing it for the past year, but I think I need a co-writer to help me because I write a scene and then I'm like, all right, movie done. Oh wait, that's 20 pages. And then
finished.
I'm finished. But no, I also I been practicing. I was doing an NYU directing. No, that wasn't. I did a law class while I was shooting Colin.
Oh my goodness.
So on the weekends, I was in law class, which was because I had already signed up for it and I was already accepted. And so halfway through the second semester, I was like, well, I guess I'm going to shoot Colin too. But no, before Colin, I was doing an an NYU directing program, and it was great, man. It was great. It was right before COVID started, so we were just going out, doing short films, writing short films, and it was a group of 15 kids who were all very passionate about film, and we were all just working together. One would be a producer, one would be a director, and we would interchange. One would be a writer. And then the leg of the semester was already COVID. So we had to shoot our last two films from home. And one of them, I was like, you know what? Let's embrace the fact that we are stuck at home. Because there were a lot of other students who were like, oh, we'll just try and like pretend that we're outside and we'll try and do this. And I was like, no, let's just embrace the fact that we're inside, that only one of us can work at a time. I'll write and edit it. And my other friend was directing it, and my other friend was acting in it. So we told him to tape GoPros to the ceiling. And the whole idea was like, there was this guy who goes into somebody's house to rob from him. And then he finds out that the person he's robbing from is like a serial killer, and he dies. And so we were shooting it like it was like Blair Witch Project. So then I had to like add the editing stuff for it. It was great, and it was very creative. During COVID, it gave me a thing to get away from having to be stuck at home.
We had a great time. We learned a lot. We learned a lot about you. The interview went really well, I think. Jaden,
Thank you.
Was great.
Jaden, Michael, thank you so much.
Yeah,
for being on the
Thank
trans-
you.
Wow, that was a great first interview.
Yes.
With Jaden Michael.
That's right, Jaden Michael with Jaime and Michael.
Wow, were you saving that for
I
the
was.
end?
I did think of that.
Wow.
And thank you, Jerry, for being the researcher and giving us our first question. That was
The
really
pleasure's
good.
all mine. The pleasure's all mine.
You do some really good researching.
I'm going to keep researching for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
The laptop's on though, right?
You guys should wrap it up.
Okay, so we have to. How are we gonna wrap it up? So this is our first time wrapping up an episode. What we should do something that we could do every episode.
I mean, we have a cup.
We have our cups. Yes.
Maybe we could do something with the cup, like picking it up and drinking it.
Is there something in yours? Yeah, there's a little bit.
I'm not familiar with the color. Do you have yours, Jerry?
They made me pay for mine. So I hope.
Yeah, you actually have to give that back because.
Yeah.
So I'm renting my cup?
Yeah.
Sort of.
By the hour. So all right, so this is it. This is what we do every end of every episode. We drink, okay, from our cups. And all right, Translators episode 1 is in the can.
Yummy.
Somebody translate this taste.
Yeah, we gotta get a better water guy for the future episodes. But thank you for watching and listening.
Yes.
Peace out.